quick. Christian Atsu, who tragically lost his life at the age of 31, as confirmed in the last 24 hours. Losing him and so many people in that awful tragedy. Far too young. The former Chelsea, Newcastle, Everton, Bournemouth and Ghana winger will not be forgotten. We honour the late Christian Atsu, an absolutely tragic tale and one of so many from that awful disaster.
Very much so, Ross, very much so. And obviously we mention him because it's our industry, it's our business, but alongside everybody else that's lost their lives, it's very, very sad and heartbreaking. And, you know, rest in peace, young man, as well as everybody else alongside him. So, yeah, very sad.
That certainly does give us perspective. The title race is exciting, but loss of human life really is that we must consider most deeply. Players take a knee, of course, happening for the last two rounds of the Premier League. There is no room for racism in any walk of life. That we well know. That's impeccably observed as well. And we can now focus on this big game. 14th place Nottingham Forest up against back to second place champions Manchester City, trying to go back top of the Premier League ahead of Arsenal. City at the City ground are kicking from right to left in the first half in their change kit, which is kind of mostly an off yellow with some chalky dark grey trim and socks. And Nottingham Forest left to right in their traditional red tops, white shorts and red socks. I'll run you back through the teams in a second. And City already see plenty of the ball. Bernardo Silva to the recalled Phil Foden. Foden cutting inside Jack Colback, upended, tried to stay on his feet. And Foden wins a free kick already in a good position.
Nice to see him back in, Russ. Gives this team so much. Interesting why and intriguing to know why he's not played much of late. But yeah, I think he's changed up now. And I think City won't suffer as much today against looking at Forest's lineup already, with Silva having to drop back into that left back role because Brennan's playing down the middle and they're going to close the midfield up and nothing come through them, Forest, today.
So Keylor Navas in goal, Serge Aurier, Felipe, Joe Worrell and Lodgy at the back, Danilo, Colback we just mentioned, John Joe Shelby, Morgan Gibbs-White, the informed Brennan Johnson and Remo Freuler is the Forest team as City take their free kick, ghosted in by Kevin De Bruyne as far as Phil Foden. He found himself in plenty of space and should have done better, guided his efforts straight at the goalkeeper. Navas would find distribution, chucked it out with absolutely fantastic accuracy, and that enabled Morgan Gibbs-White to saunter forward down the right-hand side for Nottingham Forest. Fans loved that, and in the end, City stretched through a combination of Laporte and Rodri deal with it. But for a second, Navas, having claimed the ball probably too easily from Foden's point of view, nearly really made City pay.
And just in that space, on the back foot, corner against, and then a counter, and in that space that we're talking about, that Silva might have to look to drop in. Brennan Johnson, Morgan Gibbs-White there just couldn't pick the final pass out, but a good break from Forest, good start.
Absolutely, that gap in between the left side of the back three and the left side of midfield, probably better plugged when Ake plays. He's not in today, he was in the week. Back to Diaz roughly on that side with Laporte, those two trying to cover. And the likes of Bernardo Silva maybe tracking back. Already, as Eddie says, that area exploited once on the counter by Nottingham Forest. And Forest doing good work without the ball there, pressurising Rodri and forcing him to go all the way back to his keeper, Ederson. Ederson in goal with Kyle Walker, Laporte and Diaz the back three. Rodri, Bernardo Silva and Ilkay Gundogan, the skipper in midfield. Kevin De Bruyne, Jack Grealish, Phil Foden supporting the brilliant Erling Haaland up front. Here is Laporte, who actually seems to be probably more the left-sided centre-half today with Diaz in the middle. Can he cope with that for the rest of the match, I wonder? Grealish infield to Bernardo Silva. Took a while to make the decision, but Grealish upended. And City win another free kick in an even more probing position this time.
Yeah, good possession, and they'll look to do that. They're expansive. Looking at Kyle Walker as a right-sided centre back in a three. He's almost playing as an outside right. Grealish is pushed in. Foden tucks inside. And an interesting matchup today. Aurier against Grealish. Been good form lately, Grealish, and City are a better team with him in the side at the moment.
Yeah, he really has been in good form. Jack Grealish stuck with him, City, in recent times. Used him in more big games and for longer periods of big games, and confidence is growing, and he's starting to repay that faith, no question. A critical goal on Wednesday, the second against Arsenal, being the perfect example. City free kick. De Bruyne dummies. Foden takes it left-footed. It's overhit. There's an appeal for a penalty, though. Laporte is saying that he was bearing in on goal and maybe would have got there had he not been blocked. Haaland, Grealish, Laporte, all remonstrating with referee Graham Scott, saying put this to VAR and take a look. Let's have a look at the replay. Was there kind of a block or a rugby tackle by one of the Forest defenders there?
Yeah, I think it's Worrell, the captain. And that's twice that's happened now in the opening couple of minutes, Russ. The previous free kick that City put in, similar sort of situation.
It's been waved away. Nothing is going to happen, I think. That said, is this still technically the same phase of play? Gundogan, as the Man City skipper, has come over to say his piece, and I think he's possibly over-remonstrated his point, because referee Scott is now having a serious word with Gundogan and just saying that he and the rest of the City players need to just calm it down. Of course, things did boil over a couple of times during the Arsenal-Man City game. Both players falling foul of the authority, both sets there, but when perhaps they let things go too far with their remonstrations. Got to try and keep a bit of a lid on it, Eddie, but passions obviously do run very, very high, particularly in a title race.
And knowing what Arsenal have done in the last 5 or 10 minutes there at Villa Park makes this a totally different game now for City.
Yep. Anybody who thought the title race was over because of that City win in the week, think again. Here they come, though. Jack Grealish to Gundogan, right-footed delivery, good delivery, ball played across by Foden. And interestingly, despite 4 City players being in and around the box, none of them were anywhere near the ball. That broke down frustratingly, to put it mildly.
Yeah, great ball in, Rush, from Gundogan, and he's just picked the wrong one, hasn't he? He's just got to lift that up to the far post where the 4 players are coming in.
At TalkSport Live, drop us a tweet wherever you're listening around the world. We love to hear from you. Jay says fair play to Arsenal for their 2 late winners, but thought he could hear some booing from Arsenal fans earlier in the game. So he wouldn't be sorry in the end if, because of that, Arsenal don't yet win the title. Interesting take, Jay. After Arsenal won that 4-2 at TalkSport Live. Wherever you are, wherever you're listening from, let us know. Send us a picture. Thoughts now on the title race. City, Arsenal, United possibly still, who knows? And your thoughts on this game as well, let us know. We'll read out the best tweets over the course of the game at TalkSport Live. Bernardo Silva to Kyle Walker. Now out to Foden, who's been very busy so far. Infield, as far as Rodri. Head up, the big 16, the big enforcer, to Foden again. Bearing down on the edge of the penalty area. Ball goes loose. De Bruyne tries to put in a cross shot. And this time it's Lodgi, on loan from Atletico Madrid, one of the Brazilian new faces in the side. Lodgi makes a very, very important interception, because Forest were stretched and City are asking a fair few questions all of a sudden. I'll get Eddie's thoughts in a moment, because here they come again, the citizens. Rodri out to the right-hand side to Kevin De Bruyne, who of course scored the opening goal at Emirates Stadium, where we were in the week. Foden again. Another through ball to Rodri, right edge of the box. He's continued his run. Lovely 1-2. Back to Foden. Head up. Puts in the cross. Here's Grealish. Oh, excellent block. Super block by the Forest defence. Navas may have get there. One of his defenders in front just made a critical block, because Grealish really caught hold of that. Best proper chance of the game so far.
Brilliant play by Rodri and Foden down that right side. Just thought he was going to hit it first time. Great strike.
Worrell, wasn't it?
Yeah, Worrell doing what all good centre-backs do, putting himself in a position to affect the strike, affect the game. Yeah, but brilliant play from City. The scene's set already. Forest are going to sit in. It's going to be a long afternoon. But City look really up for it, Russ.
Joe Worrell, club captain, lost his place like so many other players did with all of the new signings coming back in. But Scott McKenna and Willy Bowley, as we said before kick-off, both injured last time out and both out for a while. In have come Felipe and Joe Worrell again. And they're the number 4. Proper solid club man. Well respected. Did very, very well. Immediately City come forward again, though. Walker's cross this time. Fast movement of the ball from Pep Guardiola's men, and Forest are finding it tough to live with, aren't they?
Yeah, he looks sharp, Foden as well, doesn't he? He looks up for it. He's got to prove a point to the manager now. Why you haven't been picking me? This is why. But a brilliant start from City. They look at it right from the first minute.
Just what Pep probably would have wanted in terms of the intensity in the response from his team. And it is a corner. It did take a little ricochet, that cross from Kyle Walker. And it's going to be bent in right-footed and outswinger by Kevin De Bruyne, who's looking for Laporte, who gets there, cushions it down. Gundogan. It's another one cleared off the line. Serge Aurier, this time the Ivorian. Eddie thought maybe it nicked an arm. I thought it came off the chest. No foul on Grealish. And at the other end, City are coming forward. It's Nottingham Forest. Oh, Brennan Johnson in the end with a really, really good run. City stretched, having had a penalty shout and a shot at one end. Second time in the game, Forest hurtling down that right-hand side. Brennan Johnson this time put on the afterburners. And by hook or by crook, City keep them out. But twice now when City really pressed, Forest have hit them back.
Yeah, and both from Man City's corners, and ironic that, or coincidental, Ross, that they've exposed that right-hand side. Obviously, City centre-backs are going to go up and they leave one or two at the back, but interesting how they're looking to expose that side.
0-0. We've played 9.5 minutes. That's gone really quickly already on Premier League Live. City, as things stand in the live table, back to being 2 points behind Arsenal. Interesting. They've got a long old way to go in this one. Walker to De Bruyne, to Foden, to Bernardo Silva. A quick exchange of passes by Man City. Midway inside the Forest half. But Jack Colback, the former Newcastle and Sunderland man, sticks to Bernardo well and forces him back. Forest doing some good work without the ball, keeping a good shape, aren't they? Which they'll need to.
Which is what we expected today, Ross, absolutely. They'll look to do that and hit City on the counter. But what City will do and what they're very good at is keeping the ball and drawing people onto them, and then picking out the spaces and the holes in behind.
Ruben Diaz through ball, looking for Walker, supported by De Bruyne, left-footed, dinks one in, flicked on by Gundogan, looking for Erling Haaland, who's not really had the chance to establish himself in this game so far. And again, it's Joe Worrell, the captain, who makes the block. But again, Forest invites City on, and Foden picks the ball up on the right edge of the box. De Bruyne, a clever little ball on the overlap. Foden's cross is overhit, and Haaland was lurking with intent on the left edge of the 6-yard box, couldn't get there, tried to then take the ball around Serge Aurier, and from the Spurs man with an excellent sliding challenge.
Twice in a minute there, they've got him behind the left-sided centre-back and left-back, is it Lodi?
Yep.
Both Gundogan and Foden looking to expose that. They're going to get some joy down there.
Rodri now to Grealish, left edge of the box, left-footed cross from Jack Grealish. And again, Forest get it to safety. But it is really, really tough going. Felipe this time it was, wearing 38, the Brazilian. Felipe Augusto de Almeida Monteiro, his full name. But fortunately for us, he goes by Felipe.
Brilliant.
But it was a good block, I have to say. But again, guess what? City have come hurtling forward once more through Bernardo Silva, just beneath our vantage point here on Premier League Live. To the left-hand side, 11.5 got. Forest 0, Manchester City 0. After Villa 2, Arsenal 4, right at the death earlier, to continue to reignite the title race if ever it needed it, which it probably didn't. Rodri, still City come forward. Can Forest continue to keep them out and keep the shape and try and hit them on the counter as they've nearly done twice. Fascinating contrast of tactics and a compelling game so far for so many reasons. 4 wins, 3 draws out of 7 in the Premier League at home. Forest. Bernardo Silva's cross, looking for Haaland. Another important block. Worrell again, stretching out his left foot and stopping the Norwegian. Go on.
What they've got to do better, Ross, is keep the ball when they do eventually win it. They've got to keep it better.
Yeah.
They're giving it straight back to City and then they're on the defence again.
Well, to add to your point, possession stats so far, Forest 9%, City 91. Kind of says it all. Over the top from Walker, slightly overhit, and Phil Foden couldn't quite get there that time. Again, Lodji was stretching Renan Lodji, the Brazilian. He couldn't quite get there, but nor could Foden, and that's out for a goal kick, and that does give Nottingham Forest a chance for a little breather as we look on the big screen at the replay of the Aurier block. And I know what you mean, but I think it was mostly chest, wasn't it? Maybe a bit of shoulder, but...
Yeah, definitely. When you see it in full speed, it looks a little bit different.
And Brennan Johnson, from there, charging forward, it was Kyle Walker who got back and made the block, and it was a good job he did, because Johnson, in such good form at the moment, made up so much ground and could definitely have got a fairly purposeful shot in. Had Walker not been alert to that danger.
He's had a terrific season for them, the young lad coming in, 7 goals, 4 assists. I would have liked to have seen him there, Ross, really attack that space and get his shot away a little bit earlier.
Been involved in the last 5 Premier League goals that Nottingham Forest have scored. 3 goals, 2 assists. Jack Grealish has gone down. Foul from Worrell. Worrell saying I did nothing, or something very minimal, and Grealish has made a meal of it. Referee Scott disagrees. Books Worrell, who tries again to defend himself in the situation but fails to do so. Grealish still down. I'm sure he'll be okay. And it's another free kick in another probing position for Manchester City.
So the pressure mounts. I mean, he's a bit late there. I mean, he's played the ball, to be fair, but he has gone through Jack Grealish. Oh, a bit high. He hasn't. It was Grealish that played the ball. Yeah, that's a definite foul. But again, they're not giving themselves a breather. They're not keeping the ball better than what. There's no out ball for them at the moment. And they're just content. And the longer that goes on, the longer City are pulling them about, outside left, outside right. Midfield players coming out to put pressure on the ball. When they do, they're going to expose them in behind. It's just a matter of time, I think.
Approaching 15 minutes gone. Forest 0, Manchester City 0. TalkSport Live, keep your tweets coming in. Still Wolves 0, Bournemouth 0. Chelsea 0, Southampton 0. Brighton 0, Fulham 0. Everton 0, Leeds 0. All goalless so far, and Brentford Palace is our other game. That's goalless too. So 6 matches taking place at 3 UK. No goals in any so far. Villa 2, Arsenal 4 earlier. We'll get full details from John Anderson on that after 5. Watkins, Saka, Coutinho, Zinchenko making it 2-2 going into the final quarter. Emi Martinez's own goal against his old team, and a 90+8 goal from Gabby Martinelli off the bench. 4-2. Newcastle-Liverpool to come later. That's our evening commentary game. Here, though, it's a free kick to City. De Bruyne, well struck, but the 4-man Nottingham Forest wall did well enough. Johnson was in it. Gibbs White, John Joe Shelvey. I think it was Shelby's big bald head that it came off in the end. Forest did enough to keep City at bay, even though De Bruyne, resurgent with his form, just fancied his chances there. Probably worth a go for you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I don't think the wall, I was looking at it there before he struck the ball, De Bruyne. Didn't look 10 yards.
Interesting point. There was no magic spray out from our referee, was there, Graham Scott? Maybe Forrest nicked a yard or 2 there, and maybe that is what enabled Shelby.
It's always going to be difficult to get it up and over there from that distance.
Absolutely.
The wall so close.
Ex-Newcastle man making the block, formerly, of course, of Liverpool and Swansea as well, John Joe Shelby. Worrell, having been booked, lets the ball trickle out. Jack Grealish frustrated. Perennially frustrated, isn't he? He's a proper, needly threat in anybody's side, and often that bears fruit by the end of a match, and particularly increasingly so, as you've alluded to, in City colours now as well, like at Villa.
Yeah, very much so. But just looking at Forest, they've got decent experience in the side. Aurier, they've got some experienced Premiership players. Colback, John Joe Shelby, good blend there.
Yep.
But
all change, but as you say, the new blend, it's got a nice, perhaps, bit of balance to it. I agree.
They've got a better balance than they had earlier on in the season.
Keep bringing in new faces. I guess eventually you get it right. Or there again, Chelsea maybe prove you don't.
Yes,
dare I say.
Hope so, Russ. You would hope so. But he's done a good job, Steve Cooper. I like what he's done.
Yeah.
I've always liked him. I liked him. I knew of him in the England setup, many years ago, doing the under-17s. Obviously went on to win the World Cup.
Yeah.
And then he done a terrific job at Swansea, playing good football. And I would hasten to say that they're not all his signings, and he's just got on with it.
I was just thinking
he's got on with it.
Yeah.
He's where they are at this moment in time. He's done very well.
Well, don't forget when he took over, as you well know, they were at or very near the bottom of the Championship, weren't they? Nottingham Forest. Chris Hughton moved on. He came in, did a brilliant job, and he's really, really energised this team, got them up that table, up into the Premier League, and has coped, as you say, with pretty much an entire new squad and some thrust upon him over 2 transfer windows.
And I know he wouldn't want to have done that to the players that got him up.
Absolutely.
But he's not had a choice.
But there's a few of them still there, but not many. It's a tricky balance, but it's starting to work. After a better little spell, Forest are back on the back foot again. Here's Foden, who beat Lodri, finds De Bruyne, dangerous cross. Aurier with a vital clearance. Otherwise, Grealish was waiting to pounce and pull the trigger. Bernardo Silva dinks one in looking for Haaland. This time it's partially cleared again. Back to Haaland though. Tries to drift and get his shot away. Can't do so. Colback sticks out of boot. Felipe was there as well. Another crossing looking for Grealish. It's all hands to the pump for Nottingham Forest, but they are somehow keeping this rampant Man City team out. City continue to flood forward. Grealish to the left edge of the box to Rodri this time. Almost maybe overcomplicating and trying to walk the ball into the net. City, they are utterly dominant, but they can't quite either get their shots away or get them properly on goal. 18 gone 0-0. How much longer can this continue, you wonder? Surely not for too much more, because City flood forward again. This time it's Laporte's cross headed clear by Worrell. Brennan Johnson, to his credit, puts a little bit of pressure on De Bruyne. Has to go all the way back to Ruben Diaz, and City will come again from the right-hand side. Clever through ball from Kyle Walker, but it was just in between Gundogan and Haaland. But again, Forest clearance is poor. It's straight back to City, and as Eddie said, they're not giving themselves any form of breather or any form of territorial break. And the groans, the not boos, but the intake of frustrated breath from the City fans said it all when they gave that ball away. Forest, I should say.
Yeah, and Haaland should have done better. He wasn't quite aware of where he was, didn't open up, poor body shape. And again, Grealish has 2.5. I think he could have took first time.
Gundogan through as far as Laporte, now to Grealish, looking for 2 goals in 2 games. Had Bernardo Silva on the overlap, ball takes a ricochet, nearly fell back to Gundogan. Worrell got there, played it to Shelvey, and now Felipe goes almost Route 1 rugby union style with a clearance right downfield, nearly went to touch, picked up by Morgan Gibbs-White, and Gibbs-White has thrown himself at Rodri. He'd miscontrolled the ball, overplayed it, knew he'd lost it, threw himself into Rodri. Not a foul. Graham Scott, the ref, got that spot on for me.
Yeah, spot on. The biggest problem this lad's going to have today, I think he's a very, very good footballer. He's done well for Forest. That players like him and Brennan, they're better players. They're not going to be in the game, and when they do, all of a sudden they come into it. They've not had a touch for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes.
You've got to be so sharp when that opportunity arises. Yeah, totally agree with you. Here's Rodri again, who's had a good game in forcing things. Back to Foden, who's been buzzing around with intent and drive and purpose on his return back to the starting 11. Foden again, wearing 47. Infield to Rodri again. Maybe intended for De Bruyne. Gundogan got in the way. Still Forest are struggling to clear. Was Colback fouled? He was. Eventually Forest got their foot on the ball through Jack Colback. As he burst forward, he was upended. And Forest win a free kick just on the edge of their own box.
Crowd are
something.
Happy.
It's a breather.
Yes, it's a breather for them, Russ. And the crowd are happy. Giving the referee a sarcastic round of applause. But again, City, I mean, they're just dominating possession, aren't they? And you can only hope and think that it is just a matter of time. I just think with Haaland sometimes, you look at the port there and Silva's put especially this one here, look, back to goal. Nobody's talking. He could have set that back. Phil Foden's actually saying that to him, just set it back for me there, and he's trying to turn. But City, the longer this goes on, I'd like to see Grealish probably take a couple first time, just have a dig. We're trying to walk things in, like you said, at the moment.
As we looked at the replay on the big screen, the nutmeg from De Bruyne to find Haaland for that chance was absolutely glorious. We didn't really see it in all clarity on the far edge of the pitch, but the replay from the reverse angle was beautiful. Haaland tried to turn. Foden was maybe, as you rightly say, better placed, and it's one of City's several spurned chances. This time Ruben Diaz, the Portuguese, plays it downfield and ricochets it off the back of our referee Graham Scott. Fans enjoyed that one. Here now is Foden, another good run, tries to cut it back to Haaland, who can't get there from an acute angle. Bernardo Silva overruns the ball, and City, in the end, waste another chance, and Forest are happy to put it out of play.
Foden's looking sharp, but again, he's getting to that byline. He's just his final ball there is not the one that the on-rushing players want.
Commentators cursed for once. He has been playing really well, and just as we praised him, he tried I'd like to say an impudent back heel, but it was an extremely over-ambitious back heel, and he ended up back-heeling it straight out of play for a goal kick. But it's probably the first thing he's done wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. But just looking at Gundogan going in there, Haaland's going towards the ball, Gundogan's going towards the ball. They're right on top of the goal line in the 6-yard box. Looking at Foden getting to the byline with Grealish alongside him on the other side. They've just got to be holding their runs a little bit more for those cutbacks.
We're exactly halfway through the first half on Premier League Live. Forest 0, Manchester City 0. Still goalless. Brentford Palace, Brighton Fulham, Chelsea Southampton, Everton Leeds, Wolves Bournemouth as well. 6 3pm games, no goals in any of them. After 6 goals in an unbelievable lunchtime game that Arsenal, if you're just joining us, took 4-2 at Villa, and are now back top as things stand. Back over to you, Manchester City. Holland this time goes a bit deeper and acts as the link man. Now trots back to his usual place inside the penalty area. Bernardo Silva. Diaz to Laporte. Now to Grealish. He injects a bit of pace and quality to turn the ball around Aurier. Aurier sticks with him. Did he foul him? Decision is no. Interesting. Long ball over the top looking for the pace of Brennan Johnson. Johnson's got there ahead of Laporte. Puts in the cross shot, but there was nobody there. He's so quick, Brennan Johnson. He's got such a quick footballing brain. It's almost too quick for the rest of his teammates. And Morgan Gibbs-White was about 8 yards behind play, not really through his own fault.
That's a foul as well. That's a foul on Grealish. But again, look at Laporte now.
He's struggling big time, isn't he?
Yeah, he's struggling to get back. But the biggest problem that Forest have when they're playing like this is that there's not enough players close enough to Brennan.
There was just no support, was there?
No support there. Gibbs-White can't get up.
It was great from Brennan Johnson, but he was ploughing the lonest of lone furrows. That could well be tricky. Poor ball from Worrell, intercepted by Gundogan, but Worrell atones and nicks the ball off Kevin De Bruyne, aided by Shelvey. Ball given away again, though. This time it was Danilo, author of the Brazilian recent contingent. He was dispossessed, wearing 28, and City have won the ball back again as we tick toward 25. Forest 0, City 0. Diaz, hurling ball out to the right. Foden surveys his options. Goes to Gundogan, still on the right edge of the box. City stroking their passes around, unfazed by the fact they get to break the deadlock, despite asking so many questions in the game. Laporte, happier when play is slower and he's orchestrating proceedings rather than running. De Bruyne from distance, but he didn't get hold of it. And the jeers from the Forest fans say it all. Kevin De Bruyne snatched at that, and it was a good 2 or 3 yards wide of Keylor Navas' right-hand post.
Per strike from Kevin De Bruyne. They expect him to do better. But again, Grealish pushing and probing, giving Aurier problems again. But they're well set up, Forest. It's going to be a long afternoon to continue playing like this.
Walker forward again as Forest once more surrender possession. It's surely going to catch up with them at some stage, isn't it? Foden over the top looking for De Bruyne. No joy. Danilo this time did well. Thinks he's won the throw. He's convinced he played that off the heel of the closest City player. I thought he had as well, I'll be honest with you. Brennan Johnson's pleading his case, but the officials have decided that on the far side that is a Manchester City throw. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, City possibly riding their luck. Take it quickly and come forward again. Bernardo Silva as they switch the passage of play from right to left to Laporte. Now to Rodri. Thought about pumping one long, but he's gone short to Kyle Walker instead. Now to the right-hand flank. Foden back to Walker. Blocked. And behind for another Manchester City corner. Not massively inventive or probing, but they've won a corner.
Again, but just again looking at City, they've almost made a rod for their own back. They're that good and the type of football that they play, Russ. No other team will set up against Arsenal, Liverpool, United like this. They'll come out and play, but everybody sets up against Manchester City. The majority of teams in the Premier League will set up against them because they know how good they are.
De Bruyne's long delivery looks for Laporte, who mishit his shot, struck it into the ground, and it was then blocked easily by Worrell and took a big old ricochet back downfield as well. Laporte, French-born but Spanish-capped after the French didn't fancy him. In the end, has helped win a free kick as he's fed it forward to Grealish. Grealish has been upended again. And yet again, Manchester City have won the throw. This time Serge Aurier stretching for the ball, Eddie. Definitely caught Grealish.
Yeah, he's got to get him in 1v1 situations to cause Aurier more problems. I think that's why he's hugging the touchline. Both him and Foden are getting chalk on their boots to give their fullbacks real problems.
Forest not beaten in the league at the City ground since September. But they haven't won a top-flight game against the reigning champions since 1994, when they beat Man U 2-1 thanks to a certain Stan Collymore. It's been that long. De Bruyne dummies this free kick. Foden bends it in, goes loose, could have gone anywhere. Shot from distance from De Bruyne, better struck this time, but still a couple of yards wide.
He's not got his shooting boots on, has he?
Yet.
At the moment, Kevin De Bruyne.
He's not actually had a great season, has he, by his standards? Yeah. But guess what? Against Arsenal, he stepped up, didn't he?
Oh, what a finish that was as well. What a run, what a finish.
Tyler, loving the commentary from the car in Atlanta, Georgia, while my wife keeps asking if we can listen to Taylor Swift. I like Taylor Swift, don't get me wrong, Tyler. But no, Tyler, say to Mrs. Tyler, I'm sorry, this is far more important for now. Taylor Swift can wait till after the final whistle. And also she can wait maybe till after Newcastle Liverpool, because that should be a cracker with Tom Rennie and David Connolly at 5:30 UK, maybe about 7:30 UK, Tyler. Let the missus put Taylor Swift on for a couple of hours.
Pour a nice glass of red as well.
Exactly. I think we both agree with that. Got 3 great games for you. This, the middle part of the sandwich. Already the hors d'oeuvre was a 4-2 win for Arsenal at Villa. And Newcastle Liverpool led all of those brilliant matches over the years, the 4-3s,
yes.
You name it. Oh, some
That's
crackers
as well.
Yeah, it really is. Newcastle higher in the table at the moment of the two. They've just levelled out a bit of late.
They've dropped the levels a bit.
Just a little bit, yeah. Struggling to score now.
Draws, yeah, they're struggling to find the net.
And Liverpool a bit hit and miss, but that big win last time out in the derby against Everton might reinvigorate them. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, that's later. 28 gone here. Forest 0, Man City 0 as City again. Dominate possession. Great free ball this time. That's better. De Bruyne as far as Foden. He's got 4 players on him. He weaved his way through 3 of them. But to his credit, he's not had an easy time so far. But Lodgy, that time, did very well.
Well, he's brilliant at exposing that space. He's done it 3 or 4 times in this game already in the first 29 minutes, Russ. But he's got to get his shot away. He's got to get it on his left foot and pull the trigger.
He worked his way through Shelvey, Colback and Felipe, but as you say, couldn't then beat the 4th and shoot. Again, though, City win it back fairly cheaply. Grealish out to the right-hand side to Walker. Walker making his 350th Premier League appearance today. Gundogan looks for Haaland. Has Haaland brought down his man? The answer is yes. The big Norwegian is basically shoulder charge Lodgy out the way. You occasionally see them not given, but he wasn't goal side, and
was a foul.
I think just lashed out really, didn't he, a little bit?
Yeah, it was a foul. But it's amazing that you watch Haaland and how little he touches the ball or he's involved, and it's going to be even harder for him today because they're defending so deep, Nottingham Forest, to get in behind.
I know what you mean. I did think against Arsenal, funnily enough, we saw one of his best all-round performances in the match. He only scored 1, which is, poor by his standards sometimes, but his all-round contribution I thought was terrific, particularly as City grew into that match.
Yeah. I would like to see Forest come out a little bit more. I know they want to get to half-time, they want to get to 60 minutes, and they might change, they might open up a little bit. But if I was at home, I'd be wanting my teams to come out. Man, you're playing the champions. Come out. And I know they can't go gung-ho. I know that. I appreciate that. The league's so different now. The stakes are so high to stay in the Premier League that they'll be looking at this and saying a point's a great result. It's an unbelievable result. But as a home, the crowd's filled. They want their team to come out and play with a little bit of freedom and express themselves and get after the champions.
Totally. Fully agree with you. Still goalless in all our other games at 3 o'clock UK. Brentford Palace, Brighton Fulham, Chelsea Southampton, Everton Leeds, Wolves Bournemouth, to our intrepid team of commentators around the country. As soon as some goals go in, fear not. Forest hosting Man City in a Premier League game for the first time since 1995 when they beat them 3-0. Steve Stone and 2 goals from Jason Lee with that brilliant pineapple hairdo. What a player. They were the scorers that day. It's been a long old time. But City are here again with Forest back in the big time and growing into their status back in the Premier League. City just maybe over-pressing and over-pushing that one. Dinked ball over the top from De Bruyne beyond the City forward line. Easily claimed by the man on loan from Paris Saint-Germain, the 36-year-old Keylor Navas in the Forest goal.
Yeah, and they have to solve this problem now, City, because the game's sort of panned out now, Russ, hasn't it?
Yeah,
31,
it's
32
flattened
minutes.
Out, yeah, totally.
It's flattened out a bit. Forest have got a little bit of a foothold in the game. They're stifling City, and they need to come up with some answers.
Good work from a mixture of Aurier and Gibbs-White. Gibbs-White just overhits the cross. It was a nice little combination. Remo Freuler, the Swiss, who's been quite quiet in midfield, the nice little interception as well there. And in the end, Gibbs-White just slightly off balance, just overhit that cross.
He's got to keep it and let his team get up and support him, get bodies in the box. Again, going back to City, it's a problem now they've got to solve because they're sitting really, really deep. Can they play it a little bit more along the back, keep them, draw them out? And they're just at the moment they're looking to play a few hopeful balls in and get Haaland into the game, but it's not working.
Diaz, long ball to Laporte. Looking for Grealish. Aurier had to time his sliding challenge well. He did, but Haaland picks it up on the edge of the D. Plays a 1-2 with Gundogan. Now to Rodri. Thought about the shot. The Spaniard left-footed instead to De Bruyne. Oh, it's just wide from Rodri. He's having such a good game, this Rodri. He fed De Bruyne. He bent it in on a 6-foot straight back to the midfielder. Powerful header from Rodri. I thought for all the world it was in. Keeper was beaten. And and it was just wide of the post somehow.
Great ball in. That's the best ball in from that type of area. City have been hopeful in that. Rodri, great run in, and he should score. He should score from there. It's a great header, great contact, but he just hasn't got enough on it. What a ball from De Bruyne. That's the best delivery that City have put in.
Steered it just wide somehow, hasn't he? Absolutely, because Navas has got no chance to Costa Rican of getting there. Wow. Really good chance.
The best chance overall.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
34 minutes gone. For all the possession they've had.
Gundogan, as they come forward again. Walker to the right-hand side. Foden plays another 1-2 with the captain. Okay, Gundogan. German international. Might he be leaving at the end of the season? We don't know. Laporte, nice ball over the top to Gundogan once more. Infield, another interception. This time poked behind from Danilo, and City win another relatively soft corner.
Yeah, and I've played in games like this just over the years, and you think, oh, come on, give us a break. You just think it's never ending. You're on the back foot all the time, you're chasing shadows, and you just think, get hold of it. If they had a focal point up there, Forest, and the target man, it might be slightly different. They can get up to hold it up, bring them into play.
De Bruyne will outswing this one. Deep ball looking for Laporte, who kind of wins it, but it was very much from a standing start up against Felipe. Felipe shackled his fellow centre-half well. William Sue enjoying a lazy Saturday morning at home in Minnesota after the first proper sleep I've had in a long time. Very nice, enjoying a second consecutive horse race atop the Premier League. I hope the competition at the top becomes a regular occurrence. Yeah, William, good to hear from you. And it is so exciting, isn't it, to have the top two, one place at lunchtime, goes back top, puts the pressure back on the other one. Yep. In light of Wednesday too. Fabulous.
Fabulous football. Great to listen to, great to watch. All here live on TalkSport.
Absolutely. A pleasure as ever to bring this to the world. We never tire of saying that. It's an honour, and we're well aware, and we love bringing everybody outside the UK. What is such a brilliant league. So much interest around the world, so many fans who love their teams, who love this league, the star-studded players that it shows off. Absolutely great stuff. 10 to go to half-time plus time added on. Still though, Forest 0, Man City 0. Diaz is allowed to properly encroach deep into the Forest half. They just stepped back there, Forest didn't really push out and invited City on. Walker is trying to orchestrate things and telling Foden to go back deep to Diaz again, which he eventually does. Brennan Johnson trying to close things down alongside Danilo, and they're doing a good job of it, and they've forced City all the way back again.
Yeah, that's better from Forest.
Collective press, yes, collective work.
Collective press, yeah. A medium block there, and they're forcing City to go back, which is better. The crowd are getting behind them.
Rodri, one of the best players in the game so far, but should have buried his header to Foden. Runs at Danilo and at Rodri. Gundogan. Oh, from a tight angle. Okay, Gundogan didn't know whether to really shoot or cross, and in the end, a fairly insipid, two-minded effort that was blocked by Navas. We talked about his distribution already. Keylor Navas, he bowls it out neatly to Serge Aurier. Was Aurier fouled by Grealish? Pep didn't think so, but he'd think that, wouldn't he? Right in front of that incident. Play went on, but City lost it and Forest have won it back through Morgan Gibbs-White. Was he tripped? Decision is no. They surge forward and lose it. City come forward through De Bruyne, who tries to bend one in. Gundogan can't get there. Great challenge from Felipe. 38. Through ball looking for Brennan Johnson. Is he onside? The answer was yes, but in the end, Ederson read the danger in that typical purple goalkeeping jersey. Was already waiting by the right edge of the box, and Ederson gets there ahead of the young Welshman.
Much better for Forest, Ross. And look at the crowd. Just look at the reaction of the crowd, because they're having a real go. That's what they want. But I want to see in their side.
City is straight back down the other end, Eddie. Grealish to De Bruyne. Now to Rodri. Nice run again from Rodri. Up against two players, Freuler and Shelvey. Draws them both out wide. Aurier pointing inside to his teammates, saying make sure you plug those gaps in the middle as a result. City are forced to slow it down though. Laporte to Bernardo Silva, about 30 yards out in a central position. Walker in on the act. To Gundogan and back out to Foden, who again is running at Lodgy. Field to the edge of the D to Jack Grealish, who fancies his chances. Was that a foul? Decision is no. Gibbs-White just eased him out of the way, but legally is the call. And now Danilo tries to counter, beats Rodri. That's easier said than done, but Rodri still has the last laugh. Sticks out one of those big long legs, the excellent Spaniard, and wins it back for City once more to the Portuguese, Bernardo Silva. 1-2 with Gundogan. Silva thinks about the shot! Oh!
What a strike.
So close from Bernardo Silva. Beautiful, beautiful shot. And it fizzed just wide as he looked for a third of the season again. Navas was scrambling.
Great strike from brilliant combination play with Gundogan and Silva there. And that's what Forest are reducing City to at the moment, to take longer shots from outside the box. And what a strike.
Really, really good effort from Bernardo Silva. Another player who possibly could move on, like Gundogan at the end of the season. We just don't know. He's certainly giving his all, as he's always done for the cause at the moment. Shannon Blythe from America. Don't forget about my Palace, Russ. Keep me updated as I go on a freezing cold run. Decided not to wish you guys luck today. That's Arsenal, that is, because last time I did, look what happened. They lost.
Come on, Palace.
Of course, Palace. Yeah, Shannon, I've got another ex-Palace man here. That's the team you support. And yeah, you played a lot for Palace, didn't you? Actually, more than for City and for Arsenal.
So nearly 200 games I played
for
Palace.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Tom never gives me a Palace game. Half a word. You're listening.
He listens into all of them, even though he's commentating tonight as the boss. He's always got his eagle ear over our coverage. Don't you worry. The boss always listens in. Now, there's a little scrap for the ball between Diaz and Gibbs-White. It's just a little tiny skirmish for a second, but it's all resolved.
He'll be happy. Nottingham Forest manager Steve Cooper.
Yeah.
Be very happy with his team's performance so far.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
They've been dogged. Not a lot of quality going forward, but they've been dogged in the defending and they're working really hard.
City coming forward once more, though, as we tick to 5 minutes plus time added on at the end of the first half. Still 0-0 Premier League live. Better ball from Gundogan. More pace and purpose to that one to Grealish. Quick feet, left foot, right foot, blocked by Worrell. And behind for a corner, there was much more of an injection suddenly there from City down the left.
Again, what's letting them down in that final position is their final ball in that good positions in the wide areas. Foden, Gundogan, Grealish, they've all been getting to the byline and their final ball in has been poor.
City's fourth corner of the game, none to Forest so far. Diaz fancies this one, and from the left, Foden will take it as a left-footed outswinger. All just about headed clear by John Joe Shelvey. Good job, because there were about 3 City players around him. Grealish picks up the loose ball, right edge of the box to Silva.
Oh, what a goal! What a goal!
Absolutely
Outside
glorious strike from Bernardo Silva. Swung his foot at it first time, and it seared into the back of the net. The keeper of Navas's quality, no chance. City respond in the title race with a goal from one of their true global stars, Bernardo Silva. It's Forest 0, City 1.
Yeah, what a strike, Russ. The little fella, absolute genius. And if his last strike was anything to go by, he was going to get that. I'm not quite sure what the goalkeeper was doing, Navas, at the end, to be fair. It was a good strike, but for me, it looks like it goes in the middle of the goal. We'll have a little look here on the replay. But just what City needed. They need to shoot from outside the box. There you go. Oh, what a strike.
It is in the middle of the goal, but it's so pure.
Yeah.
And the shape of it is so difficult to manage.
Watch his position, Navas. He just slightly, when Bernardo Silva strikes this, he's going to his left and he cuts across the ball and puts lots of swaz on it. Watch him. There you go, look. What a strike.
I'm not sure any keeper stops that. I know what you mean, the fact that no keeper wants to let one in the middle of the goal. But it's just under the bar, and the shape and the power and the purity of that first-time strike, that's a great, great goal.
Just what City needed. Just what City needed on the stroke of half-time. Great goal.
Bernardo Silva, third of the season only, but what a time to get it. It's tough in a way on Forest, whose game plan had worked well. Rodri dispossessed, John Joe Shelvey with the tackle, ball over the top. Brendan Johnson streaking forward, looking for another goal. Scored 2 goals and a goal in the previous 2 home league wins that Forest have had here against Leeds and Bournemouth. That's how good he's been.
Now, Russ, won't they? They'll have to come out, Forest.
But this is a very different proposition against Man City, who now counted themselves through Grealish rapidly around Worrell. Good sliding tackle, crucial one from Serge Aurier. Appeals for a penalty not given. It's actually gone the other way, I think. And it's Forest who've got the free kick. But Grealish really putting the fear of God into Forest at one point. Players diving in left, right and centre, and it was Aurier who made the crucial block. Otherwise, that could have easily been a second in the space of 2 minutes.
Well, he done well to get back and make the tackle because he's left his captain Worrell exposed there.
Yeah, he pushed downfield, hadn't he, which is typical Serge Aurier from his Spurs days.
Yeah,
dare I say.
but again, that goal is forced Forest to do that, and straight away they're on the front foot and they're going forward. They're looking to get bodies forward. They're going to have to open up now and come out. City will then, I think, pick them off.
Here's McCarthy and Trevor Welch, who chair our Irish commentary. Very much enjoying this match. It's the second of our back-to-back games so far in the title race. Lee Hart loading more Canadian moonshine for the Americans. Just made the Premier League players' weekly wage, fueling up my truck. And Lee, as he prepares to cross the border with his liquor, sends us a nice picture as well as he crosses with the brewery just pumping out some smoke. Very nice. Appreciate that. Wherever you are around the world, send us a picture of what you're up to, where you're listening from, what you're doing at TalkSport Live. Had some crackers so far. Keep them coming in. We'll continue to read them out over the course of the game. And you'll take as well on the title race.
A late one there on the back.
Foden who's gone down, and he seems to be in some pain. It was
he's
inside his own half, and he was just slowing things down for a second and got caught.
Yeah, he's been caught. He's been right down the Achilles there, Foden. A bit late.
Take a look at the replay, but that was not a nice challenge from Lodgy. Lodgy, who started the game poorly, grew into it a bit. He's stretching for the ball. Ooh. And he's just trodden on the Achilles tendon of Phil Foden. And I wouldn't say it was a stab, but it wasn't great, was it? It was not a pleasant little challenge.
He's not gone with his studs either, Russ, is he? So there's no intent there. He's just looking to clip it.
It's so reckless though, isn't it? If you stick your foot down on somebody's Achilles tendon,
it's sore.
It's going to hurt.
It's sore, believe me.
And Foden has had his injury problems.
Doesn't Grealish always have the
dirtiest
shirt on the pitch? Every game, doesn't he? Always have the dirtiest shirt on the pitch.
The socks rolled down, the dirt, you name it. The hairband, the stubble these days as well for the big bad boy that is Jack Grealish. But he's really started, as we touched upon, to do his talking on the field for City. An awful lot more. 1 additional minute at the end of the first half. Forest 0, Manchester City 1. As things stand, City would go back top of the table above Arsenal on goal difference, but would still have played a game more, don't forget. That's the live table at the moment as Haaland tries to put some pressure on Felipe, who's done all right. Given the fact this is a makeshift central defensive partnership, isn't it, with the key two out, McKenna and Bolly, I'd say they've done all right, Worrell and Felipe so far.
Yeah, they have done very well.
One's on a yellow card, which might be a bit of a concern in the second half. Elsewhere, still no other goals in the 3 p.m. UK kickoffs. Goal Brentford Palace, Chelsea, Southampton, Everton, Leeds, Wolves, Bournemouth. We're 1-0 thanks to Bernardo Silva for City. Villa 2, Arsenal 4 earlier. What a game. Newcastle, Liverpool 2. That's the response from the home fans, which is largely supportive. A little frustrated maybe as Steve Cooper purposefully strides his way back into the dugout beneath us to no doubt then go down that tunnel and have a chat to his players about how they can turn this around. City have dominated territory and possession massively, hadn't created anywhere near enough chances as they should have over the course of the match given the balance of play. But that all changed when on 41 minutes Bernardo Silva let rip with his left foot, central but just under the bar, dipping, powerful, first time, sensational. And that goal means that City are back top for now. At the break, Nottingham Forest 0, Manchester City 1 on Premier League Live.
Got an
And one of the other 3 p.m. kickoffs brought us a very late goal as well. So let's bring you bang up to date with both goals that have gone in over the first 45. Grealish picks up the loose ball, right edge of the box to Silva.
Oh, what a goal! What
That's
a goal!
An absolutely
Outside
glorious strike from Bernardo Silva. Swung his foot at it first time, and it seared into the back of the net. The keeper of Navas's quality, no chance. City respond in the title race with a goal from one of their true global stars, Bernardo Silva. It's Forest 0, City 1.
Yeah, what a strike, Russ. The little fella, absolute genius. And if his last strike was anything to go by, he was going to get that. I'm not quite sure what the goalkeeper was doing, Navas at the end, to be fair. It's a good strike, but for me, it looks like it goes in the middle of the goal.
It's Ward-Prowse over the wall and in those positions, he is inevitable. In added time at the end of the first half, the Saints have dropped Stamford Bridge to its knees. Chelsea 0, Southampton 1. A captain's goal from James Ward-Prowse for the team bottom of the Premier League table.
Wow. So Ruben Selles in charge of Southampton after the departure of Nathan Jones, and before that, the departure of Ralph Hasenhüttl. It's been turmoil at St Mary's, but they're a goal up at Chelsea, as we just heard from Tim Long. And you said free match. If Graham Potter loses again, does he actually get the boot? Well, they're 45 minutes of the way to that happening.
Well, I'm not quite sure that they will. I did say that they've got a decent record there, the Saints, over the last 3 or 4 Premier League seasons. You're always going to get a reaction out of a team that's just sacked their manager. And the mere fact is, they have got a good record there over the previous years. So, Ward-Prowse, who better than to get them in front. Free kick outside the box. It's best. It's good at what he does. It's his best attribute. He's a very good footballer, but from those positions, he can hurt teams. And an interesting team talk for Graham Potter now. Be very, very interesting.
Massive. Wolves 0, Bournemouth 0, Everton 0, Leeds 0. 4 yellow cards in that. Some good fights, but not many chances apparently. Scrappy at the bottom. Brighton 0, Fulham 0, and Shannon Blythe wondering about her Palace. Turgid is the word that Andrew Self has just messaged me with to describe Brentford Palace at half time. Turgid from your former team.
Oh, well, God, there's not much to say, to be fair about. They just need some goals, don't they?
They do. Right, let's look ahead to what's coming next. We've touched briefly in our commentary on Newcastle against Liverpool. Magpies 4th at the moment. It could go within about 3 points, 2 points of Man United in 3rd if they win. Liverpool are up to 9th and trying to breathe down the necks of the likes of Brentford, Fulham and Brighton above them. Let's hear from the two bosses, Eddie Howe and Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, I mean, it's been pivotal. I think your home form always is to how successful your season is. We've enjoyed playing at home. I think lately we've been a bit frustrated. We've wanted more goals. We've wanted more clear-cut chances. But I think teams have defended well against us and they've defended with a clear plan. And it's up to us to find solutions to those problems. We have the capability, I think, to do that. I think Liverpool provide a different test than maybe we've had in recent weeks. They're still a top team with an outstanding manager. So we know the test is a huge one this weekend.
The financial possibilities they have or will have in the future is exceptional, but it's and so far it's not that it's because of that, not at all. So Eddie came there in a difficult situation. They stay comfortably in the league, stuff like this. Then and then the new season, it's not like you didn't recognize the team anymore from last year, like a complete overhaul or whatever. So building on the team they had, improving players who were there, like Almiron. I always liked him, but with the way they are playing now, obviously it fits him extremely well.
Yeah, fitness doubt possibly, Vicky Almiron today. One or two other key players absent, as we know as well. Newcastle against Liverpool, massive game. And who better than Tom Rennie and David Connolly to guide you through that? We'll look ahead in more detail after 5. As we build up to kick off, we cross live to the boys at 5:15 UK. Okay, we know all about the title race and the pressure back on Man City at the moment. It's because Arsenal went to Villa. They were twice down and looked in all sorts of trouble. But they left it late quite brilliantly to win it and go back top for now. All look back on by our commentator, John Anderson.
Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 4, an astonishing game in which Arsenal twice had to come from behind to win with 2 goals in stoppage time, restored them to winning ways and put their title challenge back on track. In a game packed with drama from start to finish, Ollie Watkins scored for the fourth successive game to put Villa ahead after only 6 minutes. 10 minutes later, though, a sumptuous Bukayo Saka volley levelled, but Philippe Coutinho's first goal of the season restored Villa's advantage 2-1 by half-time. Arsenal struck back again as Alexander Zinchenko drove in his first ever Premier League goal. Thereafter, both sides could have made it 3-2. Leon Bailey hit the crossbar for Villa, while Martin Odegaard missed a sitter for Arsenal. But it looked like honours even when the board went up for 6 minutes of stoppage time. After 3 of them had elapsed, Jorginho's thunderous drive hit the bar, bounced down and went in via Emi Martinez for an own goal by the former Arsenal keeper. He then went forward for a last-gasp Villa corner, but it was cleared and he was stranded 70 yards downfield when Gabriel Martinelli walked the ball into an empty net. An incredible game and a huge result for the Gunners. Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 4.
John Anderson, great work alongside Paul Mortimer. What a finale that was. Martinelli dropped for this one off the bench.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky enough to see the last sort of 10 minutes and absolutely brilliant. A brilliant game, brilliant performance by both teams, especially Villa being the home side as well. They've come out and had a real go. And that's what I'm talking about in terms of City. Teams tend to sit a little bit deeper against them, but Villa have come out, they're at home, taking the game to them. But massive result for Arsenal that. You cannot put into context how big those last 5 minutes and those 2 goals could be in Arsenal season.
Yep, 1 point from 9 before that in the Premier League, winless in 4 in all competitions. They had to stand firm, and they did. And just very quickly, Emery, of course, the former boss, that added another level to this as well, didn't it, too?
Yeah, it did. And he's got Villa playing, so it was always going to be a tough game for Arsenal. They're all tough, but I think they've proved themselves. They've got that mentality. They've got that desire and that drive and that determination to succeed this year. And they just, if that result would have went against them today, Ross, everybody would have been saying they're having the wobble at the wrong time. City are over theirs now. Arsenal are having theirs. What's going to happen? But that's proved that they're still very much in it.
And Eddie McGoldrick used to star of the week for both teams. Don't forget, Man City and Arsenal, a perfect man to assess. Second half of our game. City a goal up at Nottingham Forest to come on Premier League Live.
Global events.
The priority now is collecting the evidence.
Breaking news.
Every life that they can save is a success.
Talk Sports coverage of Nottingham Forest against Manchester City from the City Ground. I'm your host, Russell Hargreaves, alongside with the former Arsenal, Man City, Crystal Palace and Republic of Ireland winger Eddie McGoldrick. And this is Premier League Live. Perfect timing as Forest make their way out for the second half, and City are about to join them back onto this famous old playing surface on the banks of the River Trent in the East Midlands. Great historic club, isn't it? This double champions of Europe, great titles under Brian Clough.
Brilliant.
So much back in the day.
Used to love playing there as well. It was kind of local for me for where I live now as well. So the fact it was a great opportunity for my family and friends to come up as well. So yeah, cracking facility. You know, the ground's brilliant. Always a good pitch there as well.
And a lot of fans will remember, perhaps if they're newer to the Premier League, that brilliant team in sort of early mid-90s when you got Nigel Clough, you got Brian Roy, Neil Webb, Stuart Pearce obviously still there, Des Walker. Quality lineup, wasn't it?
Roy Keane,
of course,
where he started his career as well. So, very good. Nice place to go and play. Always a good atmosphere.
Yeah, many years in the doldrums, but back up through Steve Cooper. And a little bit up and down for much of the early part of the season. Do you know what I have mentioned, actually? Early in the season when Forest really were finding their way, City obviously won 6-0 at the Etihad in the return fixture. Erling Haaland got a hat-trick. Julian Alvarez got his first Premier League start goals. Jacques Sayer, who's been surprisingly loaned away, got the other. So City hoping to do a top-flight double over Forest for the first time since 1991. The fact it was 6-0 then and only 1-0 now maybe just reflects some of the progress that Forest have made. And of course, they are back in front of their own for the second half in this one. They'll look to bloody City's nose and possibly give Arsenal a massive helping hand in the title race. City hell-bent on not just keeping this one-goal lead, I'm sure, but pushing on, putting this game beyond doubt early in the second half. We are back underway. Eddie McGoldrick and I will run you through the teams in a second as John Joe Shelby puts his foot on the ball on halfway. Erling Haaland pressurising the Forest centre-halves, but Felipe and Worrell calmly play the ball back to Keylor Navas. And Dean Henderson, on loan from Man United, injured for about 4 to 6 weeks with a muscular problem. And that's one of the additions coming in as an important other depth option. Phil Foden looks okay, despite having studs rake down his Achilles tendon late in the first half. Bernardo Silva, the goal scorer, with that sumptuous strike 5 minutes before the break. On halfway, out to Laporte, who definitely is still hanging out on the left side of that defence. It's still not maybe an ideal solution. For whatever reason, Nathan Ake, who is a left footer and probably the better fit, is on the bench. Pep likes to tinker. Pep likes to leave you wondering. And he's done that again, but at the moment it's just about working. Bernardo Silva with Shelby tracking him. Referee is accidentally in the way, not for the first time in the game. Graham Scott had a shot ricocheted off his back in the first half. This time he nearly tackles Bernardo, but he picks it up again. To Laporte, now out to Jack Grealish. He's going to have another little cheeky run at Serge Aurier as he did for much of the half. Nice run. Gundogan, 1 million miles away. Carl Walker is saying he should have crossed it to me. I think it was a shot from Gundogan. Haaland couldn't get there, and Walker was in space if he could have been found.
Yeah, and I can't stress how important that goal was on the stroke of half-time from City. And I looked at the reaction from the celebrations on the bench, and you could just see the weight and the tension lift from everybody that was on the sidelines. And it's obviously done that. City are perfect at leading games now and dominating them by keeping the ball.
Bit of head tennis on halfway. Aurier goes down, claiming he was fouled by Grealish. Nothing given. Ball pumped back downfield, looking for Erling Haaland. He's looking to be just the second ever player to get 2 hat-tricks in the same season against the same opposition in the Premier League. Emmanuel Adebayor did it for Arsenal, 07-08 against Derby. Haaland a hat-trick in that first game back in August. Can he get 3 in the second half? He got 3 in the first half. He got 3 in 38 minutes that day. And it was the perfect hat-trick, wasn't it? It was left, right, and head. It was all 3.
And he's not had a chance today, but you still couldn't rule him out.
No, when he does explode into life, it's normally unbelievably pivotal and impressive. He sets this one up. Gundogan to Foden, through one-on-one. Back to Haaland. Foden slipped. He wasn't sure whether to shoot or to play it to Haaland. An embarrassment of options, and Foden, one-on-one, fell over and the ball is cleared. That was a great 2-on-1 breakaway for City to put this to bed.
Great ball, and it's game over. What is he doing? Do you know, that conversation came up at the start of the season when he wasn't doing that. He just kept shooting, didn't he? Foden kept shooting in those positions, and Pep said to him, sometimes you've got to pass it. And I think he's been caught between the devil and the deep blue sea there.
Because ironically, then I think he should have just shot.
He should have shot.
Even though Haaland's there. It is a corner because Felipe put it behind, and it's Felipe, to his massive credit, who then heads it clear.
He's got to be selfish.
And it's a poor pass out to the side, but Morgan Gibbs-White can't get there. Foden just nicks it off him, trying to atone in some way for that missed opportunity. Cross from Bernardo Silva is blocked and back out for a City throw. City with 81% possession over the whole first half. It was 91, as we mentioned at one stage. They really are dominating all of the stats. 9 shots to 2 in that first half as well. But it's only 1-0. It should have been 2. What more can you ask for than a one-on-one with Phil Foden and Erling Haaland to your left? Caught in 2 minds, fell over. Absolute shocker. And as Eddie says, I do wonder whether Foden questioned himself in light of what happened earlier in the season. Bizarre for a man of his quality and his burgeoning international experience. Grealish and Bernardo, the goal scorer, exchanging more passes to Rodri. He, though, loses out. Good tackle. Freuler, that time the Swiss, was the man who stuck out a boot and did well. Freuler's just growing in importance in this game a little. He's in midfield, by the way, alongside Shelvey, Colback and Danilo. Oops, White behind Brennan Johnson. And it's Logi, Worrell, Felipe and Aurier at the back with Navas in goal. If needed, Hennessy, Mangala, Williams, Toffolo, Surridge, Dennis, Scarpa, Andre Ayew and Chris Wood. That's the bench for Nottingham Forest. Wood dropping down.
With those final 3 players that you just mentioned there, Ross, I'd like to see them on the pitch at some point. 60
Dennis,
minutes.
Ayew and Wood.
Yeah, well, even Scarpa, I like him as well. Earlier on the season, he'd done well. They've got to change it up. Maybe get to 60 minutes and contain City for the next 10. But they've got to change it up. They're at home.
Yeah, they've got some options. Here's De Bruyne. Let's rip. Did that take a nick? He's hoping so. The answer is not. In the end, that balloons high, wide and handsome. 2 drives wide in the first half. And that one caught just off maybe the ankle, and it ballooned well wide of Navas's goal. We stay City a goal up here at Nottingham Forest on Premier League Live with 50 gone. As City come forward. Rodri to Foden, who's being closely shackled by Jack Colbeck with that flame red hair. Walker assists back to Rodri. He's being closely monitored by Danilo. As Forest continue to try and keep a good defensive shape and do plenty of work without the ball, as they did much of the first 45. Diaz forward to Foden again. Midway inside the Forest half. Picked up by Rodri. Thought about the shot, thinks in the cross, and again Felipe. They're ahead of Erling Haaland, but behind for yet another corner.
Yeah, good play from Rodri. He's been outstanding today, him and Foden, haven't they? Been absolutely outstanding down that side. But good play. He was caught between there, Ross, wasn't he? He didn't know whether to shoot or just clip it into the far post there for Haaland.
City's 6th corner of the game to Forest 0. Yet another stat that they are massively dominating. It's been a goal in the Wolves-Bournemouth game. We'll take you there in a bit. As De Bruyne takes the corner for Man City. It's a good delivery. Oh, it's saved somehow by Navas. That is one of the saves of the season from Keylor Navas. Had no time to react on the goal line. A bullet down to his feet from close range. And Keylor Navas, with all that Real Madrid and PSG experience, has made a wonderful save to deny Aymeric Laporte. We stay just 1-0 City, not 2 somehow.
You hope this doesn't come back and bite Man City. But a free header, 6 yards out. I mean, straight at him, but still a great save. Still an unbelievable save. Laporte, he's just run through the
and then he somehow reset himself to then save the second one on the goal line, which was off his own player, Worrell. And Rodri, who hooks his leg around Worrell.
Diaz,
Or was it Diaz? Sorry, yeah. First save was brilliant, and it's also hit him in the unmentionables. That first save was in the old crown jewels.
Pep will be fuming if this comes back to haunt them.
So having a bit of treatment after that great first save, and then the second. Here come Forest at the other end, and it was a nice little counter down the left-hand side, but Danilo played a poor ball because City was stretched, and Forest had about 4 or 5 players bursting forward. Back to the other end, where Jack Grealish injects some pace and class back into things down the left-hand side. But the City move breaks down, and this time Navas is happy to just smash the ball downfield wonderful double save from a man advancing in years. You wonder if his best days are behind him. 120 odd international caps. He's played for two of the best clubs in not just Europe, the world. Not a bad man to bring in. And Dean Henderson got injured. Here's Phil Foden. He missed that utter sitter when he fell over a few minutes ago. So what with that, and the Navas double save, that's two golden chances for a second. As Eddie says, Pep will be kicking himself early in the second half. City are giving it away. Here can Forest on the counter as Danilo finds the electric, energetic Brennan Johnson. Runs at his man to Morgan Gibbs-White, who lets fly. And he massively got under that, the former Wolves youngster. And that one flies into about row triple Z. But it was a nice counter from Forest, if nothing else.
Yeah, great counter. Good play from Gibbs-White. He set Brennan away again down that inside right channel that City are exposed to. But they've got to do better in the final third. Have to do better. Got to make the keeper work from there.
So still goalless between Everton and Leeds, Brighton and Fulham, Brentford and Palace. As we mentioned, Southampton are a goal up at Chelsea, Man City are a goal up here. And in a second, we'll take you to Molineux for that Wolves-Bournemouth game and bring you a goal in that one from Robert Dugmore. Foden over the top. The City again try to look for that second. Spurned chances and Forest still a threat on the counter. It's nicely poised still this game, even though City do have the advantage. Gibbs-White thought he was taken out in the air by Gundogan, but the decision of the ref, who was well placed, is that Gundogan just stood there and the Forest player dived into him. Was that probably the right result for you as well? Yeah, I think so. Good referee.
He's had a good game, the ref.
Yeah, I would agree, Graham Scott. Let's have a little through ball looking for Haaland. Can he ghost him? The answer is no. And Felipe once more.
He's had a good game.
I wouldn't say he's got Haaland in his pocket because that's dangerous. It's madness to ever say. But he's shackled him well so far.
He's had a good game.
Long ball forward from Forest. Not quite as cultured and pretty on the floor as some of their other attacks. And this time Diaz with Johnson breathing down his neck. Goes back to Ederson. And City play their way forward.
They've got to change it. They need a focal point for us. I bring Chris Woods into the game, put Brennan Johnson out on the right, and then really expose that side of City where they're vulnerable at the moment.
There's a lot of attacking players on that bench. Surridge, Dennis, Scarpa, Ayew, Wood. A lot of options. Here's Grealish. Edge of the penalty area. Inside Aurier to De Bruyne. Another good save. Through a sea of bodies, unsighted this time. Keylor Navas saw it late. Makes the save low to his left and holds on to it.
Holds on to it, yeah. That was the most important part. But he's hit the target. You might just begin to find his shooting boots, Kevin De Bruyne, in those areas.
Nice effort, dipping. Tricky height for the
Couldn't
keeper.
quite get hold of it.
56. We will take you to Molineux in a moment. City still leading by a goal to nil, and that would be enough on goal difference to go back top above Arsenal. But with City having played that game more. Bernardo Silva. Left-footed, long ball downfield looking for Haaland. This time it's Worrell, the other centre-half, returning to the team, who wins the ball in the air. Bernardo's dropped a bit deeper, hasn't he, in the second half?
Yeah, he's dropped into an orthodox left-back position,
which he struggled with a couple of games ago. But in this situation, in this game, it possibly might work. Here's De Bruyne with Colbeck on him and Danilo on him. Did well. Kept his feet nicely. In the end, City do manage to win it back, though, through Foden. Walker makes a run, but Foden doesn't use him. Uses Walker as the decoy instead on the right edge of the box. De Bruyne does use Kyle Walker, who's got back onto an onside position.
What a ball.
Vicious cross from Kyle Walker. And somehow Gundogan couldn't get a boot on it. Grealish couldn't get a boot on it. And another great City opportunity is spurned. We stay 1-0, and we'll take you to that goal at Molineux for Robert Duggan.
Still goalless here at Molineux, but Bournemouth may look to change that here against the runner. Place Solanke, it's in! Tavernier on his return to the starting lineup has stolen a goal which could be crucial in the battle to get out of trouble at the bottom of the Premier League.
We thought Bournemouth were one of those guaranteed to maybe go down, but Gary O'Neill's cherries
are a goal up. He said it in his post-match interview, his pre-match interview, that they're going to keep fighting, and they are. They're certainly doing that.
Fair play. So Bournemouth a goal up at Wolves, massively. Southampton a goal up at Chelsea. Man City hugely are a goal up here in our featured game. And goalless Brentford, Palace, Brighton, Fulham, Everton, Leeds. And earlier Arsenal leaving it very late, winning 4-2 at Aston Villa, with Newcastle, Liverpool to come in an hour and 15 minutes time. Double substitution for Nottingham Forest. They've decided finally through Steve Cooper to make some changes. Neco Williams has come on, former Man United man, and Andre Ayew has come on as well. And off have come Jack Colback and Danilo. That's the double change. So one attacker on and one kind of young attacking fullback almost on. Maybe not quite the changes you might have expected.
No, I expected Ayew to play a part in the game, but purely and simply, Chris Woods needs to be. I'm just looking at his reaction on the bench there. I mean, why come on loan to a club that is struggling and not play him? I mean, he's a focal point. He'll hold it up. He'll bring their midfield players and their other forwards, Brennan Johnson and Gibbs White, into play, and he's just sitting there. What do I know? But
he didn't do a lot, did he, in his first couple of games, Chris Wood? I don't know whether that had something to do with it. That maybe the Ross, years are just advancing a little.
Maybe, but again, everything's going straight up and coming straight back for them, apart from when they go down the side with Brennan Johnson.
It's an interesting one. Decision is not to bring Wood on. He's played enough, by the way, already for the move to be officially permanent in the summer. Right. I think it's about £15 million. He's made 4 appearances in total since that move in January on loan. So whatever happens, as we understand it, Chris Wood will now be a Forest player for next season. Of course, ex-Leicester, so back with the old East Midlands rivals. And all the goals he scored at Leeds, at Burnley, got a few at Newcastle. Did a job certainly when they needed it.
Yeah.
Now they've upgraded, I think we can safely say. Callum Wilson, Alexander Isak, fair enough. Nico Williams, I should say, sorry, from Liverpool. It's not Man United, that's what I meant. Ex-Liverpool man. Good young player. Was loaned to Fulham at one point. And at Forest now for a little while. What can he do in his final half an hour and a bit? Ball just about kept in play by Gibbs White on the far side. Lovely little back heel from Aurier, who does have some good skills. Over-elaborated on, though. I think Brennan Johnson got excited. Yeah. He saw the Aurier back heel, or I'll do one too, and his went straight out of play.
That's what we're talking about. They need to manage the game better. They need to keep the ball. They need to protect it. Hang on to it a little bit longer.
So it was Aurier back heel to Neco Williams, who then found...
I don't think his manager would be too happy with that.
Yeah, he back heeled it straight out of play. You've got kind of the veteran international showing what he can do, and that's a talented youngster trying to copy him. Didn't quite work. Freuler's gone wading in, making his mark felt for Forest. Diving in just beneath our vantage point on Kevin De Bruyne. That decision will rightly go City's way. So Wolves 0, Bournemouth 1. Southampton still a goal up at Chelsea. What might that mean, I wonder, for Graham Potter? And a couple of the other big scorelines in addition to Bernardo Silva's goal here in our match. Forest have lost all 5 Premier League games this season against the current top 5, and they're in trouble again. Here is De Bruyne lets rip. It's his 4th meaningful shot of the game, and it's his 4th that's been off target.
He knows it as well, doesn't he? He's shaking his head. He's thinking, what is going on with this wand of mine?
It sometimes happens, doesn't it? When he has a bad game, he has a really bad game. It's like I have lots of good ones, and I'll get all my rubbish out of the way in one go.
World class. Or he's very poor. I wouldn't say his poor overall play, but his finishing today has been poor.
He had a poor old game a few weeks ago as well in one of our other featured matches. It does happen sometimes. Forest, by the way, in those 5 losses against the current top 5, they've not even scored in any of those games, and they've now shipped 19. So they do maybe struggle up against the very, very top in the land.
Well, Haaland scored more goals than their whole team.
Yes.
On his own, so that sums them up. That's my whole point about getting forwards on the pitch.
He scored more than a few teams, to be fair, but yeah, you're right. This is one of them. You are absolutely right. Had scored 9 in 11 first up in games. They're very good at opening the scoring at home, Forest as well, and not doing that might be a bit of a mortal blow today as well. We'll see if maybe they can yet find a way, but coming from behind is not normally the way they've accrued their points at the City ground. I mentioned that good run, 4 wins, 3 draws, but normally they nick that opening goal and often hold on. We've had a couple of tight ones where Johnson has scored the winners. This one is not going that way, but maybe no major surprise against a team of City's quality. Nice one-touch football. Gundogan tries to free De Bruyne, and yet again it's another good interception from Felipe, who looking like Bobby Moore today. He's been brilliant.
Yes, he has been brilliant. I'm just a little bit disappointed at the moment in Steve Cooper, and I think if he looks back, and the supporters will be as well, if this stays at 1-0, which I'm not quite sure it will, he'll look back and think, I, as a supporter, would like to have a go. Go and have a go now. You need to stay up. You need to get something out of this game. And City have proved in their wobble that they can be exposed. Certainly in the last couple of games down that right-hand side.
And particularly away from home, it has been a real struggle. And they're away a lot. Do you know what? This is the second of 5 away games in a row in all competitions for City. One at Arsenal, they're away in the Champions League, away in their next Premier League game, and away in the FA Cup as well. And it's not necessarily been a particularly happy hunting ground. They might have won 5 and 6 in all comps, but they'd lost 3 in a row in all comps away until Wednesday. That's been their big issue.
And they are vulnerable, and he's got Ake that can come on and play there. I don't understand Pep sometimes. He is a genius at what he does. He's a fantastic coach, and he's built a phenomenal football team. But
they won another corner there, Eddie, and it was a nice delivery this time from De Bruyne. And ghosting up unmarked was Rodri, and Rodri's headed that well wide. He should have done a lot better for me there.
Yeah, you look at City, you know they've come through their wobble, but I don't think they're quite back to their best.
No, I fully agree. The Man U game, the Spurs game, they have lost a couple. I know they're a relatively while ago, particularly that Man U one, but it's not that imperious juggernaut that suddenly goes on a massive, convincing, long winning run, is it?
Yeah.
65 gone. City have won 9 straight against newly promoted opposition. Can that be 10? Haaland, has he been tugged back? He's gone down. The appeals for the penalty. Worrell, who's on a yellow card in a foot race against Haaland. Haaland's claiming the penalty and wanting the yellow card. He's waving the fake yellow card, which we don't like to see. On field, the referee has waved that one away and is happy for play to go on. VAR may be looking as we speak. What do you think?
I think he's made the right decision. I don't think there's any need for Haaland to go down there. He's through. I think he's gone down unnecessarily.
Brennan Johnson at the other end tries to win a corner against Laporte. He's put so much into that he's gone hurtling over the advertising boardings and into the crowd. Brennan Johnson. We'll just check Brennan Johnson's okay, because there's not much runoff area here at the City ground. At the other end, VAR, I think, is going to possibly take a little look here. So Haaland has got goal side.
Nothing in that for me.
No, he slipped.
There's nothing in that for me. He goes down too easily, Russ. Worrell does put his right hand on his shoulder. Oh, he's booking Pep. I thought he was going to the monitor.
He's not going to go to the monitor. He's booking Pep for getting too involved. Several times now we've seen Man City and Arsenal's players, bosses, get into trouble for arguing decisions surrounding refs, back-chatting to refs. And again, that pressure of that title race, I wonder, Haaland didn't seem to back himself there one-on-one, which is so rare. Fell under almost no contact whatsoever. If anything, Worrell flicked him with a fingernail. No more. Nothing like enough to send him down.
Wow. He's 6'4".
And Pep is obviously given a load of verbals, and he's in the book.
And 13 stone. What is he going down there for? No need.
Wow. You stay 1-0, and that was a strange one. At TalkSport Live, by the way, keep your tweets coming in. Brent Parker, a great day in Drummond, Montana, after a thrilling win by my Gunners. Brilliant comms as ever to start and finish Premier League Live. Burgers all round, especially for Shannon and for the lot she sent me. That title race is back on. Come on, you boys. And as all of our listeners around the world know, Brent always sends us a picture of what he's cooking in the cafe as everybody listens in to our broadcast. And it's another massive, big, fat, juicy burger. And some nice little potato croquettes, I think. Brent, good work. And he's serving it all with red straws and in his red Arsenal top in and around his chef's outfit as well. Brent, as ever, thank you. 1-0 City. Here's Foden. Shot on target, spilled. Haaland off the bar. Haaland again, over the bar. Oh my goodness. Erling Haaland had 2 chances to score after Foden had set him up. And in the end, after one ricochets back to his feet, he sends the second into orbit.
Brilliant by Foden. Absolutely brilliant. It's cut inside again. Not a great finish. Straight at the goalkeeper. And what's happened there?
Nasser is tracking that one. They're still trying to find it.
Still shaking my head at that one. First one, good. Oh, he's hit the bar. Second one, oh, wow. Wow.
I'm speechless. Foden did brilliantly. First effort was into the floor and then off the bar. The second over and out. Forrest then tried to play it out, give it away again. And then again, Haaland nearly manages to engineer another one in from a tight angle, blocked by Navas. Quite what Forest were doing there, I don't know. They dallied. Ball was one out on the left, and it was Bernardo Silva, little deflected cross. Navas couldn't quite handle it, and Haaland was actually very close to poking that one in as well.
I think the last incident with Worrell still playing on his mind there on that second finish. He's made good contact with the first one.
Other end, here come Forest for a second. Just for a moment, Neco Williams nearly managed to create an opening. He's done well, the young Welshman, since coming on. Couldn't quite find a way through. Had Gibbs White one side, Johnson to the other, and that's a lot of pace suddenly, isn't it, with those three?
Yeah.
And I know he's getting on a bit in years and isn't quite what he was pace-wise, but maybe they're just trying to stretch City and try and win it that way rather than bringing on that big focal point, as you mentioned, like potentially Chris Wood.
I'm just looking at IU there, but he looks a bit like me playing in the charity game at 57 now. It's
a bit portly.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
De Bruyne over the top looking for Haaland. Worrell nicks that one off him and behind for a corner, but I think you're absolutely right. Erling Haaland, having fluffed that one-on-one, how on earth he didn't score either of those chances when it hits the bar when he's got an open goal, comes back to him and then he sticks one into the stratosphere.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Strange.
I think you would put your life savings on Haaland to score at that point. I would.
That's the tension of it at the moment, Ross, isn't it? That's the tension of it.
Approaching 70. Forest 0, Man City 1. Should be about 4. Foden looking for Haaland. Won by Lodgy and headed clear. Picked up by Grealish. Still Wolves 0, Bournemouth 1. Chelsea 0, Southampton 1. Brighton 0, Fulham 0. There's been a goal in the Everton-Leeds game. Interesting, we'll go there in a moment. And still, 1-0 City in our game, and still goalless Brentford against Crystal Palace. Ball being hotly contested by both teams. Neither can keep a hold of it. City had it, Forest had it, now City have got it back. De Bruyne, mazy run, beats two players, just ran out of space though, ghosted beautifully around Shelby, and as Aurier dived in, he tried to guide the ball to Grealish, couldn't do so, but City have won it straight back. Another relentless passage of play as they up the ante. Gundogan to Foden, thought about the shot as he cut inside, tried to find Haaland. Worrell got there just ahead of him, and an acrobatic clearance as he fell, but an effective one from Joe Worrell, the captain. Still City win it back and come again, but right edge of the box through Walker. Goal scorer Bernardo Silva takes it around Freuler. Back to Walker. Block from Lodgy. Ball ricochets high into the grey, darkening East Midlands skies. De Bruyne brings it down to Walker. Foden on the edge of the D. Again, City almost trying to walk the ball into the net. Foul maybe on Grealish, and in the end, the referee's had enough of this. It's like death by 1,000 cuts. He eventually blows the whistle for the free kick. City just kind of pretty clever football. Eventually, they've won the free kick.
But he was clever there, Grealish. He's worked the foul, hasn't he? He's worked it. But again, good shape from Forest. City have to play everything through the middle. Look at that tick-attack of football. Like you said, he was trying to walk it in. De Bruyne gives it away.
That TalkSport Live. Keep your tweets coming in for the final 20 minutes. Have we got a big sting in the tail of the Forest goal in this? Or will City hold on? And we will take you to Goodison in a moment as well. We're going to see another substitution from Forest. Off this time will come Joe Shelby. Signed from Newcastle in the January transfer window. An all-action player, wholehearted figure, and the fans are warming to Joe Shelby. He's given everything. Off he goes, and on comes the young Belgian, Aurel Mangala, who was one of the changes from the last lineup. Powerful figure, regular member of the team of late. Mangala comes on. But with 18 minutes to go plus time added on, 1-0 City, the big question for now is what can they do from this free kick? Won by Grealish, and it's in a very, very nice position. It's about 3 yards out from the left edge of the D. Forest have got about 5 in the wall, plus the good old draft excluder. City have got a couple in a little fake wall as well. And De Bruyne takes it. What a save from Navas. It may have only hit the bar, I don't know, but Navas wouldn't have known. It was a much crisper and more purposeful strike. And diving across, Navas with a white glove tips it behind. Clever play. De Bruyne dummied it and Gundogan took it, but Navas was equal to it.
Yeah, great save. Great save. Brilliant technique from Gundogan to get it up and over the wall from about 22 yards. But what a save. What a save from Navas.
Very good. Gibbs White was the draft excluder. Miles away from him. Corner taken as far as Rodri. Powerful effort and headed clear by the man of the moment, Felipe, with that big long ponytail. Makes another excellent interception. Rodri somehow hasn't scored in this game. He's had so many chances.
He has.
Played really well.
He has.
They've had
success from corners with Diaz, Laporte and Rodri, haven't they, with a height? Just haven't taken advantage of them today, Ross.
Can take it a Goodison Park
frustrating
in a second for that goal that we mentioned. We'll bring you that in a mo from Barry Swain. Just watch out here and see what City can do, because they are back on the attack. They've had 20 shots to Forest 3. What? And 6 on target to Forest 0. Absolute dominance, but still, Forest have posed a little threat. No question at the other end. In the end, Forest get that one clear as City overcomplicate through Foden. Good sliding challenge from Diaz, but the new man Mangala wins it back, then wins the loose ball. This was more like it. Chance for the rotund Ayew to come forward, wearing 34. In the end, his ball to Mangala wasn't the best, and the young Belgian gave it away. And suddenly City, as Forest push and get it wrong, can exploit maybe De Bruyne through looking for Foden, blocked by the keeper. Let's take it to Goodison Park into Barry.
Iwobi again, that's a good looking ball down the line, and Coleman is away. Can he get the cross in? He can! Oh, it's a brilliant goal from Seamus Coleman. From the narrowest of angles, the Irishman has lashed it into the net. What on earth was Meslier doing? It's a big goal down at the bottom in the Premier League, and he's gone to Everton.
Oh, my goodness, leads a goal down. Sean Dyche looking for a second win since he took charge. Massive goal. Veterans like Coleman back in his team, delivering. As well as young Meslier can play, make some great saves. There's always a rick in the young Frenchman, and that's possibly cost Leeds there. 1-0, I'll get Eddie's take in a moment. Here, Forest on the attack. Beautiful diagonal ball to free Brennan Johnson. And I said Neco Williams had started well off the bench. Neco that time in support, overhit it and lost possession.
Sums them up, doesn't it, today, Forest? Brennan Johnson's his fought a lone, hard battle up there on his own. Ayew's not giving him any support since he's come on. And they keep banging on about Chris Woods. If they're going to go that way, that's the route they have to go down. They're going to be direct. Put a 6'4" centre forward on, get it up to him, and get support up to him. Or it's just haven't done that.
Yeah, the other moves and subs make sense. Mangala in the middle, fine. Yeah. Neco Williams, fine. But I agree, the Ayew one, he's kind of not doing either thing. He's not being quick, and he's not holding the ball up and being powerful either.
And he's got no mobility.
Too many pies, maybe.
Score now.
Opportunity possibly for Forest here. City dallied with their defence. And initially, Forest, 2 or 3 players around the ball, none of them could make the decisive contribution. They almost left it for each other.
Yeah,
they were almost shocked that they had the ball with such space.
And this is what they've got to realise, Forest. They've got to take that initiative. I mean, those openings, because they haven't come that often this afternoon.
Forest player down injured. It could be a head injury. I think it's Aurier. We'll see whether or not we play on. I think they've got to take a stop and have a look at this one. Eventually, the referee realises that, blows his whistle. Serge Aurier will receive treatment for a blow to his face. There's been a goal in the London derby. Brentford against one of Eddie's old teams, Palace, was goalless, but not now. Let's take you to Andrew Self.
Elise tries to chip it in. It's 1-0. It's a goal by Eberechi Eze from 6 yards. Palace take the lead. Eze off the bench. Elise with the cross. And 68 on the clock. Eze, the sub, is Eze the man who puts Palace in front by 1-0.
Selfie, good work. Eberechi Eze, brilliant player. We know about the injuries that have curtailed him slightly, but he's so talented. I love his close control and his footwork and his speed. Great player.
Yeah, brilliant. Come on, Palace.
Not biased at all, are you?
No.
Palace, Arsenal, Man City. I'm allowed to ask you if you picked one. I'm allowed to ask you if you picked one. Who's your favourite, or you're not allowed to say?
I'm not allowed to say. I would never sit in the fence. I'm good and bad at every one, but I loved my time at every single one of them.
Yep, you did well at all 3, and all 3 have either won in Arsenal 4-2 earlier at Aston Villa or are winning. Palace, as we just heard there through Andrew at Brentford. City at the moment here at Forest in our featured game through that wonder strike from Bernardo Silva. And as you've been hearing, still goalless Brighton Fulham, still Chelsea 0, Southampton 1, James Ward-Prowse, still Everton 1, Leeds 0, as we heard a moment ago, and still Bournemouth for a goal up at Wolves. Very, very interesting. Newcastle, Liverpool to come at 5:30. Isak will lead the line for Newcastle. Teams adjusting. Almiron is fit and Saint Maximin's fit, so they're okay to play either side. All teams to come from Tom Rennie. Young Elliot Anderson into midfield for that game today as well for Newcastle. Liverpool have got Mo Salah, Nunez and Gakpo as their big three. Ashton gets another chance, having played so well in the Merseyside derby. With Fabinho and Henderson, full teams on that. To come from Tom just after 5. Here, I think he's going to be all right, Serge Aurier, but is his race run for the day?
I think so, yeah. He's not done bad today up against Grealish. He's stuck to his task, hasn't he? He's not done too bad.
Chris Wood is going to come on. Toffolo's coming on as well. Another good young player, Harry Toffolo.
Well, they've got to go for it, Russ, haven't they?
It's Logie and Aurier. The two fullbacks are coming off. Yeah. Toffolo's going to come on. It's possibly 3 at the back, with him now sitting alongside Worrell and Felipe, and then you have Wood as the focal point with the 3 pacey players around him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sort of 3-4-3, 3-2-3-1.
Well, I think they're staying with the 4 because Nico Williams dropped into the right back position that Aurier occupied. But I think they'll be more direct now, and they'll get Gibbs White and Brennan up around Chris Wood with Ayew as well.
Right, so it's some big changes now for Forest in these final few minutes. 11 to go. There's still a goal down, but they're still very much in this fight, the Nottingham Forest. Remember, 4 wins, 3 draws in their last 7 at home. Proud record of late. Might be City in town. They might have been on the back foot for most of the game, but they've managed to reel with a few punches and flicked a few little jabs and uppercuts of their own. Ball out of play on halfway for a Forest throw. And they're being pushed back to take it again from the correct place. Again, referee all over that, Graham Scott. He's not let anything go, has he? He's been good.
Yeah, no, he's done very well today.
Villa Navas with a big long kick downfield.
He'd be pleased there's been no VAR decisions either.
Absolutely. Here's Worrell to Mangala, who's looked nice since coming on, the young Belgian, wearing 5. And the City have dropped 13 points on their travels this season already, and that's more than in the whole of last season when, as champions, they only dropped 11. That big win at Arsenal, plus holding on here at the moment, that ship is maybe critically being righted. Gibbs White to Worrell. Space on the right side for Neco Williams. It's Liverpool man's right-footed cross. It's a deep one looking for Ayew. He'll struggle to get there. It was a little bit overhit. Was there a shove by Walker on Ayew? Andre Ayew's convinced that he was bulldozed out of play by Kyle Walker. Referee decides that was physical and legal. Likewise at the other end, no foul on Haaland by Felipe. Mangala forward to Morgan Gibbs-White. Cuts the run side Rodri. Lofts one over the top, asking an awful lot of Brennan Johnson. Johnson has kept it in play and failed to win the throw. Not much the youngster could do there. I think Gibbs-White with the wrong choice.
Yeah, and he's picked the wrong ball there. I'd like to have seen...
Just apologise for it as well.
Yeah, I'd like to have seen Brennan make that run inside Silva and make it a little bit easier for Gibbs-White. But yeah, it was a poor ball. But it didn't really give him a great option there, Brennan.
Forest try to track the City players, deny them time and space, and it works. Felipe emerges with the ball, right edge of the penalty area. Gibbs-White fighting for it, as was Freuler. I think it was Foden who ghosted back and nicked it and won it. Williams then on Grealish, foul, and even though Forest had some territorial advantage for once, it's City who emerged with the free kick, and that was intelligent, professional know-how from the champions, wasn't it?
Yeah, good play from Grealish there. That's what he's good at. I would like to see him in the top end of the pitch be a little bit more direct, but in those positions, he does brilliant for City there. He's bought them a bit of time. They can get up the pitch.
There might only be 1 goal in all of the games bar 1, but they're all tight still. Palace still a goal up at Brentford. Southampton still a goal up at Chelsea. Could that cost Graham Potter his job? Everton still leading Leeds 1-0. Saints and the Whites both technically managerless at the moment. Bournemouth still that goal up at Wolves. City still up here, still 0-0. Brighton, Fulham, 2 teams just outside the top 6. Here's Haaland cutting in field. That's better for once from the Norwegian. Finds Grealish. Haaland wants it back. Grealish instead finds De Bruyne. Right foot this time. 5th effort of the game. 5th effort off target. Kevin De Bruyne has been replaced by a kind of hapless
There's an
twin.
imposter in there.
Yeah.
There's an imposter. Haaland's had more touches in that phase of play that he's just worked than he has in the whole game.
Yeah, whoever has been kind of cloned and replaced Kevin De Bruyne today doesn't have much footballing skill, or certainly nothing like
Certainly not in
The
front
real
of goal.
one.
Not in front of goal.
No, not for his
One of
best
those
game.
off days.
Absolutely. 83 gone. Forest 0, Man City 1. Forest are back in possession. They've now made a hatful of changes. They're bedding in some of them. Can this team find a way to steer an equaliser? What a story that would be. Remember, they beat Leeds 1-0, Leicester 2-0. Johnson the winning goal scorer on each occasion before this. To West Ham to come, then Everton here. Spurs away, Newcastle at home. That's what they've got to look forward to in the coming weeks. To look forward to now is a great run from Johnson.
There you go.
A cross goal, and Chris Wood scores his first goal for Nottingham Forest. Wood off the bench. Wonderful play down the right-hand side. Johnson involved, Gibbs White involved, and Chris Wood could not miss. He's poked it in. The City fans can't believe it in the far corner. Forest are going ballistic. My goodness, it could be key in the title race. It's massive for the home team. Chris Wood, Forest 1, City 1.
Never mind the City fans, Russ. The Arsenal fans travelling home back to London will be ecstatic. And I told you, I've said it all afternoon. Great play down the right-hand side. They've exposed City again. They had to. Brennan Johnson, Nico Williams and Chris Wood, that focal point. There you go. They wanted something out of the game. They needed to show that they wanted something out of the game, and they've just done that in one phase of play.
Very tight for offside. They're basically in a line, 4 players. So Gibbs White's cross, Walker has peeled off and Wood's just got there. Ayew and Diaz, all 4 of them, it's very tight. They're all pretty much bang in a line.
Be interesting,
just
the lines
putting
here.
it out there.
Yeah.
Just to bear in mind that there was very little space when it comes to daylight, but I don't think this is going to be looked at.
Doesn't look like it, but what a great ball.
I think it is being looked at. It is being looked at. Ooh, hang on a minute.
Wow.
We're checking for a possible offside. Diaz is maybe the one playing them onside. Now, this is where it gets a bit tricky because Ayew is bending forward.
Yeah.
So possibly Ayew's arm is forward, but most of his body is behind.
John. Yeah. Diaz has played them out.
Diaz has played Wood and Ayew on by about 2 inches.
A toenail in that case.
Oh, my goodness. It was certainly worth mentioning because it was looked at.
And I said, Pep, although they've missed chance after chance, City, it could go back to rue them, and it certainly has. What do I know about Chris Woods?
We said he was advancing in years. Grealish at the other end. Good run from Jack Grealish. Let's rip. Blocked by Worrell. Cleared by Freuler. But only as far as Laporte. Bernardo Silva. Dispossessed by Brennan Johnson. Fouled by Silva. This game is turning. 40 minutes in, Bernardo Silva's worldie had put City ahead. 86 minutes in, Bernardo, frustrated figure, trips Johnson after losing the ball. And Forest have got a free kick and a chance to clear their line. Steve Cooper knows there's still a massive amount of meat left on this bone. And he's just gesticulating to his players to keep their heads, stay focused. It's party time among the Forest fans, but they can't get too carried away, can they? They've got to love this and savour it and enjoy it. But they're also fallible at this point.
There's one team you can get carried away with just by scoring a goal and equalising, is Manchester City, certainly. But the intent was there, and it was in a position that we spoke about all afternoon, Russ. Man City's left back position where they've caused them the problem.
Yeah, and Wood, very cleverly, just as the cross was about to come in, just eased about a yard or two away from Kyle Walker and created that space. Diaz played him on, played Ayew on. Now Forest look for another. My goodness, Mangala to Gibbs White to Johnson again. Another great cross. Really important block from Laporte. Smashed to safety by Silva. Now Felipe, has he been fouled? Referee blows his whistle. It's all happening here. It's all happening.
And it's
what a finale. Who would have seen this coming? Brilliant.
Well, the chances that City continue to miss and fluff, and Forest have taken advantage of it with their first bit of intent in the game.
De Bruyne is coming off. It has not been his day at all.
And now listen to the place, Ross. The place is jumping, and Forest all of a sudden are on the front foot.
What a great player to bring on, though. Julian Alvarez scored 2 in the return fixture at the start of the season in his first Premier League start. Brilliant young Argentine, all about the World Cup, what he brings to the table. Wants more game time. Tough when he's got all these players to fight his way through. But Alvarez on for the final 2+ minutes. Other end though, it's a Forest free kick for the foul on Felipe. Gibbs White flicks it on, nearly found Wood again. Felipe's up there, Ayu's up there, neither can get their shot away. Foden emerges with it for City. They will counter instead. 2 to go. Long ball over the top, looking for Haaland.
Ooh.
Navas clears it. And I think it was a great description. He basically shanked it sideways. He made the block, but it was like one of your 6 irons.
Yeah. I hit my 6 iron better than that, Ross. Don't worry about that. But he's got time to drop back in there. I know Haaland's running forward towards him, and just collect it, calm the game down, give him a little bit of a breather.
Now Foden's coming off, and Ake's coming on. Attacker off.
Sealing up. Well, he wants to seal it, doesn't want to lose the game now.
He might be now
to seal up
points, Pep Guardiola. Who would have thought that when his team were 1 up and spurning chances to go 2 left, right and centre? Now, was Ayew fouled?
Nope.
Decision is no. Oh, here comes City. But Walker's cross is poor. Navas reads it. And Navas throws himself on the floor, rides around a bit and kills a few more seconds. You mentioned it at the time. When City were up and you had the Haaland double miss, the Foden falling over the ball, the brilliant save from Navas point blank, the tip over from Navas from the free kick. There's 4 or 5 absolute gilt-edged chances that City haven't taken.
And it could come back, and it has come back to haunt them if they don't score in the next 3 or 4 minutes.
So as things stand, Arsenal would be 2 points clear of City and with a game in hand.
And who'd have thought after Wednesday night, Russ, after such a brilliant first half performance from both sides in that game and a convincing win by City in the end, that we'd be looking at this scenario now. With 5 minutes to go at Villa Park, it's 2-0. You think Arsenal are dropping points? Wow. What a title race.
So 1-1, despite 22 attempts now from City to Forest 4, and despite 73% possession to City to Forest 27. 1-1. City, if they want to be champions, defend their title, now is the time to possibly deliver. Header across. It was a cross from Bernardo, looking for Gundogan. Worrell was there. Forest only managed to get it to the edge of the penalty area, though. Laporte to Grealish. Back to Aymeric Laporte. Deep left-footed cross, looking for Haaland. Cross goal. Felipe up there again. What a game he has had. Probably my man of the match, Felipe.
For Forest, brilliant. Him and Worrell's done well as well. They've dug in
until the injuries to the first choice pair. Still time for City again, though. We're into the first of 4 additional minutes. New man Nathan Ake. Brendan Johnson throws his body, the young Welshman, at that to make the block. But the ball falls back to City again. Here's Grealish, edge of the penalty area, right-footed. Freuler is trying to track him. Williams is back helping as well. Finds Ake looking for Laporte. Felipe has blocked it, and Felipe's been fouled. Super interception from Felipe, and he will now eat up a good few seconds rolling around on the floor. What a block. Is that enough, or do you think there's still time for one more City chance? I think there might be time for one more.
Yeah, there will be time for one more, that's for sure. But again, Grealish, brilliant defending from Forest, great numbers in the box. He's just got to stand that up first time. He comes back on his right foot, delays, gives Forest more time to reorganise. He's just got to lift that to the far post and stand up for his defenders, and Haaland coming in.
So 91.5 of 94 gone on Premier League Live. Forest 1, City 1. Forest make it 8 unbeaten in the Premier League at home. And will City drop points on their travels again? Still elsewhere, Brentford 0, Palace 1. Goal in the Brighton-Fulham game very late on. We'll take you there when we can. Chelsea 0, Southampton 1 still. Everton 1, Leeds 0 still. Still Wolves 0, Bournemouth 1. 1-1 here. Earlier, as we mentioned, Arsenal 4-2 late on at Villa. They are now back top, unless City can find a way in the final 2 minutes. And then Newcastle-Liverpool to come in about 40 minutes' time as well, with Dave Connolly and the brilliant Tom Rennie. Ball back for a goal kick to City, but Forest pushing up and doing really well to get the ball right down the other end of the field. Very clever.
And their shape's caused that. His substitutions and the shape and that little tweaking tactics has caused that. To put City right on the back foot.
A minute and a half plus any additional beyond the 4 as Rodri comes forward. City's fans so quiet in that corner. Forest jubilant at the moment. Will that switch, I wonder? Diaz's delivery. Navas had to be athletic. Came out in that garish blue and with those flashing white gloves makes another big save. It's a punch this time. A purposeful punch. And the ball goes out of play. Quick throw. to Grealish. Fans want the whistle to play, but there's another minute at least, I would say. Ake's delivery, Diaz's header over the bar, and it lands on the roof of the net. Is that it?
Well, who knows? Who knows with this team as well? But just too much flight on the ball, wasn't it? It was stood up too much. Not a bad ball in for Mackie, but too much height, and he's struggling to come in and get a proper jump on that Diaz.
Well, it's a corner, is it? Did it take a little nick? It must have.
Must have done.
Corner. Gundogan takes it, outswinger. Ayew's back, and what he's done there is make a very good defensive block, Andre Ayew. Hasn't done much going forward, but that was critical, and he got there in between two Manchester City players. He whacked the ball downfield, picked up by Bernardo Silva, who's still playing effectively as a defender, as you rightly said, Eddie. Now through to Edison, forward from Diaz, looking for Haaland. Worrell gets there ahead of him. Flicked on by Morgan Gibbs-White. He's happy to smack the ball into that East Midlands leaden sky and kill a few more seconds. 4 additional have gone. It's 1-1. Surely the referee will blow his whistle any moment now, and he does. Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester City 1 the final score. City trying to build on their big win at Arsenal in midweek. Led through Bernardo Silva on 40 with a worldie. They spurned a catalogue of chances to go 2 up. They did not take them. Pep booked at one point, boiling over as we speak in and around the benches too.
Yeah,
but a lot of it comes out of frustration. A lot of it comes out of frustration because Forest